Why is ACDC bass so good? Cliff Williams is the bass player for ACDC. He's known for his simple but effective bass lines. Recently I've posted a few videos playing some of the tracks off the new album, and I've noticed a few things that make the bass lines really great. Number one, simple is good. It takes a very tamed ego to play what is right for the song. And although I do encourage stretching out and playing with some flair, you've also got to know when to rein it in. So always ask yourself, what is right for the song? So number two is rhythm. The most common rhythm that you'll find on an ACDC track is the straight 8 feel. It's one of the simplest types of bass lines you can play, and I think every bass player at some point has played something like this. But I do think this type of bass line doesn't get the attention it needs in the practice room. There are many different ways you can articulate this type of line. You can play with a staccato feel, you can play with a muted technique, you can play as all down picking, you can play as alternate picking, you can accent different parts of the line. The possibilities are endless. You'd be surprised at how many bass players are out there that can't play this type of bass line convincingly. One of the key ingredients for the ACDC sound is the super tight rhythm section, particularly the bass and drums. They're often just playing something really simple, but it's so locked in, it just makes everything sound great. Okay, number three is chord inversions. So the bass player is often playing the root of the chord. So in the chord of E major, this is made up of E, G sharp and B. These are called the root, third and fifth. So the go-to note here for the bass is E, the root. But the bass player also has the power to change the tonality of the composition. Instead of playing the root of the chord, you could also choose to play the G sharp or the B, so the third or the fifth. So by playing the G sharp, the third of the chord, you would get a first inversion. And by playing the B, the fifth of the chord, you would have a second inversion. Cliff Williams uses this technique to great effect. Here in A Witch's Spell, over the A chord, he plays a C sharp, so this will be a first inversion. It can be seen here again, over the E major, playing a G sharp. Number four, pedal notes. A pedal note is where an instrument plays a single note while the chords around it change. So the bass player could play an A whilst the guitarist plays a G major, a D major and an A major over the top, which is exactly what happens in the chorus of Demon Fire. This happens right up to the very last couple of beats where the bass joins the guitar and plays the G, which leads me to my final point. Number five is variation. In Demon Fire, whilst the guitarist is playing the main riff, underneath the bass player is playing a straight 8 bass line using just the root note E. This happens for a few bars, right up until the end of the phrase where he joins the guitarist and plays the riff. This adds some variation for the listener, which creates some interest, and it also signposts the change into the next section. So I've outlined several bass writing techniques here. So next time you need to write a bass line, maybe consider some of these, you won't go far wrong. So I've really enjoyed playing these ACDC covers. I've got one more video coming out with some tabs on it. This is part of a collaboration with some other YouTubers, so stay tuned for that. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Cheers!